This next video tutorial is for curtain panel, which I will assign a parametric louver system on it, and I need the tree process of my family before I can use this into my project. The first thing that I need to do is to create a normal family for my louver, and then I will nest this into another family which I can control the louver spacing, and then after that I will nest this one again into another family which we call it curtain wall panel, so that I can assign this into my project as a curtain panel with the parametric louver system. Okay, so the first step that I need to do is to create my louver family using, at the moment I will use a generic model. As default, I am on the plan, so I need to go to my front elevation and sketch additional reference plane for the thickness of my louver. This is I need to sketch another horizontal reference plane for my height. So I need to assign some dimension here. Say that it would be equal. Another dimensions which I can assign my parameter here. For that I need to unpin this one first. Okay, so say this parameter would be my louver thickness. So just keep that one as a type parameter. So the height, same type parameter, louver height, and on my left side view I need additional reference plane for the depth of my louver. Say this is my louver depth. Okay, so now on the plan I need to sketch my louver model using this extrusion. So I can use this rectangle. So before I click finish on it, I need to make sure that I lock these four sides into 4 constraints. So click finish on my front elevation. So this is my louver now, which I have the height of 250, so I can assign this extrusion end as my louver height so that it will attach on this reference plane. There. Okay, so let's try to flex before we go further, just to make sure it is working. So say the thickness would be 40, height say 200, the depth should be say 250. Okay, so it's working. So I need to save this one first. Say this is my louver. There. So let's close this. Close this one. Now I need to create another family to control my louver spacing, so I need to use the generic model line base. So by default I have a length which I can position my louver here, and then I can adjust the length of my louver panel later on. So I need to load this one on that family, say family 2. There. So I need to save this one again. Say this is my louver system. There. Now I need to align this louver here. Make sure to lock it and the back face of your louver as well, black. Now I need to array this one. So group, say let's have a default number of 3, so make it last in constraints. I just pull this one up here first. Okay, so even I can assign the number of my louver blade here directly, so I have 5. Okay, so I need to align this one again. Okay, let's try to flex this. Okay, now I need to create a parameter here which that can drive my louver spacing. So say this is my louver spacing, say we'll set that one as instance. Okay, so by default we will assign a value first of 300. Okay, so so one more parameter, say instance as well. So this time this is my number of louver. Now I will set this as an integer so that every time my louver will distributed, the spaces should be round off into a whole number. Okay, so make this one as constraints. Like now we put some formula here. So my number of louver must be driven by this louver spacing. So this should be length divided by louver spacing. There, like, okay. So now I need to click this louver and I will assign a parameters as well on this dimension. So this should be my number of louvers. Okay, so it was grows into another into one more louver since I assigned this as 300 spacing. So let's try to flex again on 3D view. Say if I will adjust, hold on, if I will adjust my spaces into 200, okay, and my length should be 1600. Okay, there. Now on my front elevation I need to assign as well the height, so I need to add one more reference plane and put the parameter here, dimension, and say this is my louver height. This should be an instance parameter as well. So click that one. Now I can adjust my louver, all of my louver height, which will be driven by this louver height, the new added parameter. Okay, so if I will go to my family here, say my louver height should be driven by louver height, like there. Okay, so if I will flex this directly here, my louver will adjust as well. Okay, now so save this one. Okay, so I need to create again another family. This time I will use the curtain wall panel. Then I will load that one on that family. Okay, load it. So now I cannot sketch the loaded family because the Revit will look for a work plane, so I need to click this one, sketch somewhere here. Okay, so I'll just save this one again. Say this is my louver panel system. Okay, so now I need to align my louver first on this reference line. Lock that one, and I need to align this one as well. There. Let's try to fix this a little bit. Then align that reference plane. Okay, so let's try to flex if this will work. There. Okay, so now on my interior view, I need to attach that one to this reference plane and lock it. Okay, so now try to flex. Okay, so I need to add my panel at the back of this louver system, so I need to add additional reference plane for my panel thickness. Say that would be my panel. Oops. Thickness. Okay, just make that one as type parameters. Now I need also to add additional parameters for my louver spacing. So say instance louver spacing. There, so by default I can say 200 default value. We'll set this one to say 15, 12 mm. Okay, let's say just put to 20, because either this one you can assign a solid panel or a glass panel. If a glass panel, you just change later on the thickness for glass. Okay, so click apply. Now I want my spacing to be driven by louver spacing. Okay, so let's try to flex one more time to make it sure. Say my spacing will be 300. There. Okay, so it's working. So I need to sketch my panel using extrusion, and then just use the rectangle here. Make sure to lock these four sides. Let's finish, so I can drag this one up to that reference plane and lock it. One more time to check, just to make it sure. Okay, it's working. There. Okay, so I can assign my material here. Say add, let's make that type parameter at the moment. So that's my panel. There. Okay, so apply. So now I need to load that on my project. Just close some of this. Okay, so load this into the project. Sketch a wall, say current wall. Just hide this one. Okay, so I need to add some grid line here, garden grid. Okay, so let's try to change this panel first into the loaded families, which is louver system panel. There. Okay, so that is my louver panel family that I created. So I can put that one on my curtain system. So let's try to add a horizontal curtain grid. Let's see what happened. There, it's working. So let's try to check if I change the spacing of this into say 600, like there. Okay, so now let's try to put additional curtain grid by segment. Say one there, one here. Okay, so now I will select all of this and I can filter that one and say just give me only this curtain panel, apply and assign this one. Okay, there. So I have that curtain panel with louver system. So if I will change, say if I will change this spacing here, say that is 600 as well. So if I will change that one to 400, there. So if I will stretch or adjust this dimension, say that will be 500. Let's see what happened. There, it's adjust to 500. Okay, so let's try to change one more time. Say the spacing of this, say 500. There. Okay, let's try to flex this one. This should be 5 meters. There. So let's try to flex this one as well. Let's see if I can adjust this. Say that should be 3 meters. There, it's also working. Now, instead of changing directly on the model the spaces of my louver system, I want to put this into a schedule so that every time I change the spacing of this louver system, instead of changing it here, which is quite difficult to select, it's quite take time maybe to rotate if you have a huge project. So I need to put this louver spacing into my schedule so that every time I will adjust my louver spacing here, I just go to my schedule and change it there. Okay, so first thing I need to go back to my family and I will change the louver spacing as a shared parameter. Modify in shared parameters. Shared parameters is just only a list of your schedule on your louver system, which you can compile it on your schedule. Okay, so just select and then say yes, create the new one, say I can use this one as a louver shared parameters. Click save. So in a group, I just group that as my panels, and then parameters, say this is my louver spacing. Okay, so just click OK. Okay, so it's already there. Click apply. Okay, so I need to load that one back, including the parameters. So you notice that my louver spaces that go back to the previous 300 spacing. Okay, so now I will need to create the schedule for this. So under project browser, I can right click on my schedule here. So I just look for curtain panels. So say I want to get the area as well, maybe the count, height of my each panel, and the area of this is the area of each panel as well. So height, and this is the newly created parameters on my family. Just add this one and say I need a width as well. Okay, so let's put that one down. Here comes, okay. So this is now the data that Revit generated on your schedule. So let's try to flex. Let's close this one. So yes. Close this one here. So now, as I said earlier, I need to adjust the louver spaces instead of adjusting it here directly on the model. I can adjust the spacing here. Okay, so let's try to change this spacing. Say 600 there. So let's try to adjust this one to 500 there. So say, oh, so this one say 200. Okay, so let's say this one. So every time you move your mouse, it will detect the model based on what you've been selected on your schedule. So say that will be 600. There, okay. So let's try to change the material of my, whoops. Oh. Yeah. So let's try to change the material of my panel. So I just select one panel here, and on my material, say that should be, let's change that to glass. Apply. There. So my panel now was changed into a glass material. Okay, so once you change one panel, it will change all, since they are type parameters, or they are type family. So let's say I want to change this panel into a solid one. So instead of changing that one to a solid one, that cannot be done in a type parameter. So the family, it should be an instance family to change this panel into a solid one instead of glass. Okay, so I need to go back to my family again. Oops, close already. So select one here and edit family. So on family types, I need to change the material into instance. Roll the plan back. There. So I will change this one into a solid panel. Say, oh sorry, it's already there since it was set to instance. My material is already here. So I'll set this into a default. Okay. There. So that is how you change the panel. Just change directly into your family and set it into instance. You can also create the depth and the the depth of your lower blade. Just adjust it in your family. Okay, so that is the tutorial for today. How to create the parametric louver system that will be driven by your spacing and your schedule.